I'm sure you saw the picture of the young gay men lining up for the monkeypox vaccine in San Francisco. I find it fascinating that there's so little anti-vaxxing in this group. And I think that's because monkeypox is debilitating, it's disfiguring, and it's difficult to diagnose. So one man published pictures or photos of his skin because he had been misdiagnosed not once, but twice. He had gone to an urgent medical center and they said he didn't have monkeypox. And then he went to his family doctor and he said he didn't have monkeypox. So finally, he went into a public health clinic and they said, yes, he did have monkeypox. There was a woman on social media who published pictures of her skin, and she said monkeypox is not just a gay men's disease. And so there's concern that that the elderly and children might get monkeypox, particularly because many children and elderly have weakened immune systems. So today we're going to talk about what is monkeypox, how to prevent monkeypox, and important nutrients that can be used to prevent monkeypox, but also other chronic viral infections. So what is monkeypox? So monkeypox is a virus that's very similar to smallpox, and it's considered less severe. It was found in Africa in monkeys that were kept for research. And the main symptoms are fever, headache, back and muscle aches, swollen lymph nodes, and exhaustion. Now, this is very, very common. So monkeypox is a viral infection, and this is very, very common with viral infections: fever, headache, back and muscle aches, swollen lymph nodes, and exhaustion. So later we're going to talk about prevention of viruses beyond just monkeypox, but this is how many viruses begin. Now in monkeypox, a few days after getting the fever, there can be a rash, and this rash is red, it becomes raised and full of pus. And then the symptoms appear about 6 to 13 days after exposure, but it can take even longer. And how does it spread? So monkeypox is spread by person-to-person, close personal contact. And what's most dangerous is when the lesions or pustules touch each other, or if they touch clothing, and then somebody else touches that clothing, then they can get infected. So it can be very, very serious. Now, what's interesting is that I mentioned it can be hard to diagnose. So one of the young gay men basically published his monkeypox on Twitter or some kind of social media because he had been to an urgent care clinic and was misdiagnosed. And then he went to his own doctor and was misdiagnosed. And finally, he was correctly diagnosed at the public health center. So it can be difficult to diagnose. And this is true with all skin diseases. Skin diseases are very poorly self-diagnosed and only slightly better diagnosed by general practitioners and non-dermatologists. So, this can be very hard to pick out. The other thing is that some women are actually showing their monkeypox on social media, showing it's not just a men that have sex with men thing. And there's been a lot of scuttlebutt in the media, like, why do they say men? Why don't they say gay men? Why do they say men that have sex with men? Well, remember, there are bisexual men and some heterosexual men don't consider themselves gay, but they do have sex with other men. Let's see. And so what can you do if you have monkeypox? So if you start noticing the red lesions, you should definitely contact your primary care doctor or an urgent care center. You definitely want to mask up and social distance, that's for sure. Now, there is a vaccine available. I believe it's created in Europe, so it's in short supply. And then there's an antiviral drug known as TPOXX, and that can be used for severe cases. And so the bottom line is we want to prevent monkeypox from spreading. The theory is that this could get beyond the men that have sex with men category, and that children and the elderly might start getting it. So we have to be very, very careful. So I would like to end up by talking about steps to improve your immune system to protect you against viral infection. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is vitamin A. And one of my favorite types of fish oil is cod liver oil. And cod liver oil is actually rich in vitamin A, and that explains why many people think that cod liver oil is a specific medicine for chronic viral infections like long COVID, like the old mononucleosis, like people that have post-viral syndrome. B vitamins are very important, especially thiamine. And then there's a basically extract of thiamine called benfotiamine. Benfotiamine is very well absorbed and has been used in clinical studies for many conditions, including improving the immune functioning. And regular old thiamine was used in critically ill COVID-19 patients, and it was found to help preserve their life. It was given by IV in the hospital. So for the immune system, B vitamins are good, particularly thiamine and benfotiamine. We all know about vitamin C. There's some new research on vitamin D. So the recent research is that vitamin D can lower the risk of chronic inflammatory illnesses. And it also, in a study published in the Journal of Epidemiology, vitamin D reduced the risk of autoimmune diseases. So many of us know this, but it's thought that the farther you get away from the tropics, the more likely you are to have autoimmune disease. So if you look at Africa, there's very few incidences of diagnosed autoimmune disease. You go north of there and you go to far north to like Britain, UK, and you get many people with autoimmune disease. So it's thought that vitamin D, that's partly due to the sun's sun rays contain vitamin D. And so it's thought that those people who live in a very warm and sun-drenched climate are protective for vitamin D. So they're now recommending people with autoimmune disease, in particular in the West, supplement with vitamin D. Now, it has many benefits in terms of maybe COVID and flu protection. And it doesn't mean that if you take 2,000 to 4,000 IU of vitamin D, you're guaranteed to not get COVID. What I can pretty much guarantee on the basis of the research is that you'll have a less severe type of COVID or other infection if you dose up with vitamin D. So vitamin D is very important. Now, know that there's studies going on all the time, and the media always likes to report negative studies. So remember, plane lands safely in Des Moines, Idaho. No news. Plane crashes and kills 200 people in Des Moines, Idaho. Oh, front page news everywhere in the world. So, so remember that the news has a negative bias. So they are more likely to publish articles about the negative studies on vitamin D than the positive ones. And that's very unfortunate to me. Zinc is a real heavy hitter. So for cold and flu prevention, and also perhaps monkeypox to help prevent you, not prevent you fully, but to help prevent you. Zinc is really good because it's protective for the upper respiratory tract and also the skin as well. And the most important thing to know about zinc is that dosage is critical. And that's why I do recommend that you find somebody who's a naturopath, herbalist, or integrative physician that can help you guide you the proper dosage and way to take vitamins, nutrients, and other things like nutraceuticals and herbals. Of course, for our immune system and for our infection prevention, we want to engage in microbiome support, and that's probiotics, prebiotics, colostrum, and this idea of resting the digestion, which I'll explain, really quickly. So resting the digestion means low on allergies, high on cooked foods, And it emphasizes things like herbal tea, soups and stews, which basically make it very easy to digest your diet. So it's cooked foods, emphasizing in protein and vegetables in particular. I've done a diet called the Digestive Clearing Diet, and you can find more about that at digestiveclearingdiet.org. There's no fee, there's no fees involved at all. Then when we get into magnesium, we'll be talking about that later in a later episode when we talk about sleep. But magnesium threonate, which is a newer form of magnesium, has specific benefits for sleep and cognition. And I'll be discussing the research in the sleep edition. So we're going to be doing a sleep supplement herbs podcast. The next thing for immune support is medicinal mushrooms. These are things like Ganoderma, also known as reishi, and turkey tail mushroom. And then a culinary mushroom that's good for the immune system is shiitake. Now, important to know that shiitake is not very orally bioavailable, and that's why I recommend shiitake in soups and foods and teas, not in tablet or capsule form, and certainly not in tincture form. In terms of if you actually develop symptoms of an infection, you definitely want to know about glutathione and its precursor, which is NAC, which is N-acetylcysteine, which is a very powerful herb, mucolytic. It helps reduce mucus, and it also helps improve breathing and lung function. So consider glutathione or NAC, which is considered a more active form of glutathione or more bioavailable form of glutathione. And that will be energizing and also may have some antiviral capabilities as well. Now, the following are things you might want to evaluate. This is what I would call a natural medicine evaluation. Could you benefit in terms of prevention of viral illnesses with acupuncture and Chinese herbs? We've had a lot of results in the last 3 or 4 decades showing that herbs, especially in combination with acupuncture in combination with Chinese herbs, is particularly benefit for people with chronic viral infections and chronic viral infection prevention. Adrenal fatigue, this is not something you will find out in the medical textbooks. This is more of a sub-adrenal deficiency condition. A person feels fatigue. They may have exercise intolerance. Brain fog is a key symptom. So might want to evaluate if a person has adrenal fatigue. They might want to get that help for that corrected so that they have more robust defenses should they get something like monkeypox or to ward off viral infections. Chronic stress, which causes a lot of strain on the HPA access system. Basically, naturopaths and herbalists can rebalance the HPA access system with specific herbs and some nutraceuticals. And then another important question in any kind of prevention or chronic illness is how is one's sleep? I will give you one more, or actually 2 more bonus supplements to consider in prevention. One is astaxanthin, and this is an extract from algae. And it's a very strong antioxidant. It has pain relieving effects and then energizing effects. So you might want to consider astaxanthin if you actually get a flu or cold and you're just dragging, you have no energy. We don't want to use caffeine for that so much as we do want to use something energizing like astaxanthin. And then the last thing, last substance I'll mention is quercetin, also pronounced quercetin. And quercetin, you'll read, has many benefits for the immune system, benefits for brain health. It may help the health of COVID-19 patients. There's a study where quercetin phytosome was shown to help lessen hospital recovery or improve hospital recovery in COVID-19 patients. And then, so you want to make sure that you use a quercetin that's highly bioavailable. And there are two kinds I know of. That's quercetin phytosome and quercetin combined with bromelain. Bromelain basically is a enzyme which helps get the quercetin into the cells more readily. Well, I want to leave you with a quote from one of my mentors. And my mentor, Dr. Fung, would say, if you can sleep well, if you can eat well, then you have no problems. This concludes our podcast for today. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please be sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one, and be sure to hit the alert button to be notified of new videos each week. For more information, please visit us at getwellfoundation.org.